Hey, what's up, everybody? It's your boy Kdub back with another video. And shout out to everybody that's watching, supporting the channel. Now, if you actually watched this whole video and you liked it, definitely hit the like button. Also, to share, subscribe, comment. Excuse me, on this video. Let me know what your opinions on in this, and definitely hit the notification button, hit the like button, and also the notification bell so you can get all of my so you can get notified for all my videos. And let's get to this topic. Now, what I'm actually going to be talking about is the Louisville band's No Knocks after Breonna Taylor's death. And it's not 21 minutes, I'm pretty sure. Okay, now it's 40. Yeah, so this actually just came out, I think earlier today or last night, because when I was actually looking this up on Twitter and saw that they actually passed this law in flying colors that, you know, bans the no knock warrant. Like, you can't, you know, do that anymore, which I'm glad. They really do need to stop doing that, because they be going into random people's houses and shit, even though that's not the right one. They just go to those houses just based on a certain informant that tells them about those houses. And the bad thing, the worst thing about the no warrant, the no knock warrants, is that once you go into those houses and they're the wrong house, you know, it could be just a regular family house where you just bust in, start saying freeze, put your hands up. You know, you start pulling your guns at, you know, innocent children, innocent, you know, adults and dogs. You know, it's a mess. And also, it could be a lot worse than that, where cops busting through the houses and someone, you know, starts packing with you know, some guns and shit and start blasting y'all. And that's exactly, you know, what, you know, transpired with the whole Breonna Taylor case, where her boyfriend was actually shooting at the cops because he felt it was self-defense, because those cops just burst in the house, you know, no knock or none. They just, you know, kick through the door down, you know, like it's nothing, like there's nobody home, you know. And it's also fucked up that they actually tried to get this guy locked up for, was it like attempted murder or something on a cop or some crazy shit, even though he was at the right. He was, you know, he was doing self-defense, because he had no idea what the hell was going on. Like, for real, he didn't know what's going on. And once he noticed that the cops were at his house, you know, and that's the same thing I would do. Like, if I hear some noises or heard a door getting kicked in and some random person or people start coming in the house like a bunch of hooligans, hell yeah, I'm gonna start blasting. But it's gonna be too late, because it's at the heat in the moment, you know. And you start blasting somebody even though they were the ones that were doing that shit. You start blasting at them, and they start, you know, hey, this is the police. You know, the police, you know, those SWAT teams saying that we're the police. You know, it's kind of too late at that point, because the shooting's already happened, and, you know, you already killed the guy's girlfriend, for damn sake. And it's just a whole fucked up, is what I'm trying to say. So let me actually get into this article. It's going to be a long video. But let me get to the beginning. Alright, so Louisville, Kentucky, AP. So Louisville, Kentucky has banned the use of controversial no knock warrants, and named a new ordinance for Breonna Taylor, who was fatally shot by officers who burst into her home. The city's council unanimously voted Thursday night to ban the controversial warrants after days of protests and calls for reform. Taylor, who was studying to become a nurse, was shot 8 times by officers conducting a narcotics investigation on March 13th. No drugs were found at her home. I'm just going to say, Brianna, that's all she wanted to do was save lives. So with this law, she will continue to get to do that. Taylor's mother, Tamika Palmer, said after the law was passed, she would be so happy. The law bans the use of the warrants by Louisville Metro officers. Police typically use them in drug cases over concern that evidence could be destroyed. Concern that evidence could be destroyed if they announce their arrival. Kentucky Senator Rand Paul also introduced federal legislation Thursday that would ban the use of no-knock warrants nationwide. Louisville Council member Jessica Greene, who co-wrote the city's new law, said the city's police typically use the no-knock warrants about 20 to 25 times a year. No-knock warrants are not tools that officers have to use with any regularity to get their job done, Greene said. Greene was also critical of an incident report in a Taylor shooting released by Louisville police this week. The report, released 3 months after the shooting, is mostly blank with few details of the incident and some incorrect entries. It cites a police-involved death investigation and identifies Taylor, 26, as the victim. It also has a box to check for forced entry, which was checked no, and it's also said none in the space for the victim's injuries. Greene said Taylor would never be forgotten. She will never be erased, no matter what an incident report said. See, Louisville police did more details about the shooting in the media briefing held on March 13th, hours after the shooting. Officials said the officers knocked, announced themselves, and then forced their way into Taylor's apartment, where they were met with gunfire. Louisville Mayor Greg Fisher called the release report unacceptable. It's issues like this that erode public confidence in LMPD's ability to do its job, and that's why I've ordered an external top-to-bottom review of the department, he said in an email statement. I'm sorry for the additional pain to the Taylor family and our community. The 3 officers involved in the shooting, John Mattingly, Brett Hackinson, and Miles Cosgrove, or whatever the fuck, have been placed on administrative reassignment while the shooting is investigated. This week, the detective who required the no-knock warrant, Joshua Janus, also was assigned. Taylor's boyfriend, Kenneth Walker, was also in a home that night and fired at police. Walker was initially charged with attempted murder of a police officer, but that charge was dropped by prosecutors in May. Walker told police he didn't know who was coming into the house and that he thought was acting in self-defense. Mattingly was shot in the thigh and recovered. The release of Walker's 911 call on May 28th marked the beginning of days of protests in Louisville, fueled by Taylor's death and the death of a black man in police custody in Minneapolis, George Floyd. Wow. But yeah, there's a lot of shit that I gotta point out. And actually, you know what? Yeah, I'm gonna go to the top because never seen that bullshit. Now, what I will say about the ban of the no knock warrant, you know, it should be banned. They should ban that warrant nationwide. I do agree with that because there's gonna be a lot more Breonna Taylors that's gonna end up like her, and then it's gonna be there's gonna be some Kenneth Walkers that's gonna start blasting on him because he's probably, you know, sleeping. He's probably just chilling, you know, chilling by himself or with his girl. Next thing you know, he got a bunch of people burst inside your house, and you know what the hell is going on. So he grabbed your gun, starts shooting at him. You know, you didn't know at first there were cops, but you know, because of the adrenaline and just the whole situation, you know, transpired, you start shooting at him. You know, and once all that's said and done, your girl is, you know, she passed away. You get locked up by the cops saying, you know, you're getting locked up for attempted murder on a cop, which is some bullshit. It really is some bullshit, man. But, you know, cops are gonna do what they're gonna do, man. And also the way that they had a report on this saying they had a box to check for forced entry, which was checked no. So they said no on the forced entry, and also said none in the space for victims' injuries. Like they were trying their best to hide what actually was going on, you know, during that whole crossfire shit, you know. And you know, they got the what's the Greene? Yeah, the councilman Jessica Greene saying, you know, she'll never be forgotten, she'll be never erased, and blah blah blah, just giving lip service. And you know, the mayor, you know, giving some lip service as well. Like, you know, I'm actually, you know, Kenneth is lucky, man, that he's not locked up, because if the charge was still there with Kenneth Walker, like Louisville, yeah, man, Louisville would have been going upside down just like Minneapolis, because how the hell are you gonna lock him up for having his constitutional right to bear arms, and him, you know, defending himself against, you know, tyranny. So you pretty much locking him up, you know, for tyranny if the charge was still there, you know. And it pretty much is tyranny, because why they have the law there, man, it's, you know, it's ridiculous that they still have that law. But I understand why they have it, because they some lazy motherfuckers and trying to rely on the information that they got from someone that they've arrested or had in custody. And of course, they're trying to, you know, get them off their backs, saying like, oh, it's in this house, or oh, it's in, you know, that person's in, you know, that location or whatever. You know, obviously lying their asses off, but you know, a lot of these cops is too lazy to do their own research, so they just like, okay, and just start blasting motherfuckers, man. Like, I can't stand cops, man. I can't stand them. But you know, as long as you know, these protesters, like these authentic protesters, that are actually fighting for the rights of, you know, not only being American, but also for, you know, for the rights that black people need, you know, that they actually deserve. Like, as black people, we deserve to have the same rights as everybody else. Like, that's what we're protesting right now. Like, that's why we're protesting. Because as black people, as, you know, like the whole time we're in America, we've never been taken seriously. Like, we're always being used as a mule. We're always being seen as someone to not be taken seriously, you know, and they just feel like they could just shoot us up on the streets like we're a bunch of wild animals, you know, just leave us for dead. And once, you know, once black people get upset about that, like, once black people get upset about that, you know, they just like, oh man, look at these crazy, you know, these crazy people, you know, these super predators and shit, you know. And it's very sickening, man. It really is. But yeah, man, like, I'm actually glad that this law passed. Like I said before, like, I'm really glad this law passed, because these cops, you know, they can't have this, man. They definitely need to stop doing this. And this is only one thing that, you know, that we actually done pretty well. Like, I'm not surprised that my damn throat. Like, I'm not really surprised that this law passed, because this is an election year. Like, a lot of people is not, you know, they kind of overlooked for the fact that this is an election year. And when it comes to election years, you have a bunch of laws, you know, that has something to do with black people, is always getting shit done, you know. And this is the year, even though, like, 2020 has been a crazy ass year, man. We got the COVID, we had the fucking, we're very close of having the financial ruins, and we got this whole protest, you know, this whole police brutality going around, and the whole country's a mess. I will say this, man, the whole country's a fucking mess. So America has a lot of shit to do, I will say that. But I will talk more about, you know, how we can actually hold these police officers accountable, you know, for next time. But I hope y'all enjoyed this video. Thank y'all for watching. You know, keep, you know, subscribing, sharing, you know, commenting, liking, you know, this video and this channel, and definitely hit the notification button, hit the bell, and I'll talk to y'all later, man. Stay safe out there, and keep protesting, man. Make this government accountable.